Hey everybody, it's Polish Pete, and we just added a ton more Dirty Jigs. So Dirty Jigs was a bit of a challenge this year with the supply chain for us to get set up with them direct and have a whole bunch of consistent inventory in, so we kind of held off and waited so those guys could catch up. They obviously have one of the most popular jig brands on the market out there, so they were getting swallowed up by everybody, and we were the new guys on the block. So we waited kind of till inventory started to level up and they could catch up, and they're starting to hook us up now. So we have 18 new families on the site right now. They're on the site so you can look at all the different colors and sizes and variants and everything. This is one representation of every new variant we have, starting off with the Canterbury Shaky head jigs, which have that screw lock style keeper on the front of it. You've got the horseshoe shaky jig with a shaky head, which this one has a vertical line tie, and the Canterbury one has a horizontal line tie. So I'd say, you know, more your like reservoir style fishing, less grass, more brush, things like that. Grassy situations, I'd try that horseshoe one. You have the Matt Stefan Guppy head jigs, real popular smallmouth swim bait heads for those finesse style swim baits, the 3-inch spark shad, small Kitex, things of that nature. This is a real popular swim bait head for that. Tactical Bassing hooked up Dirty Jigs with this little peach here. This is the Tactical Bassing Finesse Swim Bait heads. I like this one a lot because of not only the vertical line tie, that's my style of line tie. I like in anything I'm moving through the water column like that, but it's got a cool keeper style on it that I like, that kind of molds the difference, or both lead style keepers and a wire keeper, so whatever type of plastic you're using, you're not at a disadvantage with the style of plastic keeper it's got. This is a do-all kind of swim bait head. Next up would be the Luke Clausen Compact Pitching Jig, and then you have Luke Clausen's Finesse Jig here. So big difference here is you're just going to see like this is more that archy style head, but it's compacting up your presentation. You can still run some decent sized line on here. They use nice heavy duty Gamakatsu hooks in this. This little Finesse Jig right here has got kind of more of a little pill shaped head on it, or a little, you know, almost mushroom style head shape on it. A little horizontal line tie on it. This is going to be a killer little spin-in rod jig, or a really light finesse jig if you're looking into getting into that game with the little finesse jigs. Next up is the Dirty Jig Swim Jig, which these feature like a VMC hook in them, kind of all around, all purpose swim jig. If you're not sure, if you're not a big swim jig angler and you're just trying them, these are a good value to get out there, chuck them around. They kind of do, it's like kind of a do-all model. Next up after that would be their Finesse Swim Jig, where you're getting to a lighter wire hook, more of that boot tail swim bait, trying to mimic little minnow forage, more open water swim jig fishing style stuff. Then it would be the No Jack Swim Jig. So this one's got a big giant hook in it, big giant Gamakatsu hook in it, so straight braiders. This is your swim jig right here. And then we have in swim jigs the California Swim Jig. I've actually got some buddies that throw this one. Great offshore style swim jig if you're going to chunk and wide in deeper water, or you're just looking to literally punch this thing through some vegetation and swim it back through some big stuff. You got a big California style swim jig there. Next up would be Canterbury's Flippin' Jig. This is a really popular one. I have not fished this one, but I actually have a lot of friends that tell me this is one of the better flipping jigs on the market. So good one to check out. Looks like a great grass head design. You get a realistic finish to the head on that one. They have the No Jack Punching Jig. This thing's a big, heavy hitter here. I think they start at like 3/4 and go up to like 1 1/4 ounces. So if you're gonna punch through really thick vegetation, this is the jig. Probably, in my opinion, one of the most popular jigs for that particular technique, which is matted heavy duty vegetation. You want to blast your jig through it, get underneath the canopy of that matted vegetation. That's a big nasty jig for that situation. Up next is the Matt Heron Flipping Jig. So if you see this style, it's got that horizontal line tie, a little bit more like a modified archy style head to it. Big time reservoir, southern style flipping jig here, more flipping at bushes and things of that nature. And some thick, heavy vegetation. I like the hookup percentage with that horizontal line tie, but it just makes it a little harder to clean it off grass. This would be a great one if you're fishing more of those reservoir style river fishermen up here. If you're a Mississippi River angler, this would be a great flipping jig for you. This one is the tour level pitching jig. So this one's very similar to that Matt Heron style in this one. It's got appears to be a little bit lighter wire Gamakatsu hook in it than the Matt Heron one. Matt Heron's probably using a big old flipping stick for that one, and this one looks like a little bit more of a pitching style jig, maybe a dock skipping type jig right here. Next you got the Finesse tour level football jig and the just regular tour level football jig. These are very popular football jigs because like all the Dirty Jigs, they use a lot of skirting material, really cool colors. They have a wide array of colors in their jigs, and they use really good hooks. So if you're a football jig guy like me, they're great football jigs, got a great reputation. They offer them in finesse sizes and that standard size as well. Then you go to the loop cloths and casting jigs. So these three here would be like kind of your offshore structure style fishing jigs, along with the last one here, which is the pivot point football swing head. So these are really popular. I've actually been throwing this style of offshore jig for quite a while now. So it's got a free swinging EWG hook, and I believe this one's like a 5/0 Gamakatsu in this one. So you can just basically Texas rig any plastic you want. Find that hard edge out there in that vegetation. You can get it through that vegetation without getting hung up because you got that Texas opposed hook in there. This little loop cloths and casting jig, it's perfect for offshore like grass line fishing, stuff like that. It's kind of got, once again, a little modified Arcue style head, but it's got a vertical line tie. You just want to clean off that grass far away from the boat a lot easier. So all these jigs right now, like I said, are on the site as we speak. Lots of different colors, lots of different variants. They actually got uploaded like a few days ago, and it was insane how many of you already jumped on there and gobbled up all a bunch of them. So you'll see some colors are missing, and that's because they loaded us up, but people just jumped on and wanted to get them right away. So if there's a color or a size you want that's on the site there that's not in stock, click that notify me. We'll send you an email as soon as they come in because we already have to reorder. So thank you, Dirty Jigs, for getting us our jigs. And in the meantime, all the rest of you, go catch them.